We can still be better. You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong, and that's really how I get the feedback, is from customer input. And I said, look, if you can get your work life to be where you enjoy half of it, that is amazing, because very few people ever achieve that. Because the truth is, everything comes with overhead. That's reality. Everything comes with pieces that you don't like. You could be a Supreme Court justice and there's still going to be pieces of your job you don't like. You can be a university professor and still going to be, you have to go to committee meetings and you have to do things. Every job comes with pieces you don't like. And we need to say, that's part of it. We all have the same amount of time in the world. Nobody has more time than anybody else. And when you become a very successful person, one of the things, you start to get overscheduled.
I think there are a couple of things, and one of the things that everybody should realize, and that is probably the single most important factor, is that any startup company that turns into a substantial company over the years, never lose track of the fact that there was a lot of luck involved in that. So, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, there are a lot of people who are very smart, very hardworking. Very few ever have, the planetary alignment that leads to a tiny little company growing into something substantial. So that requires not only a lot of planning, a lot of hard work, a big team of people who are all dedicated, but it also requires that not only the planets align, but that you get a few galaxies in there aligning too. And that's certainly what happened to us. Our timing was good. Our choice of product categories, books, was a very good choice. And we did a lot of analysis on that to pick that category as the first best category for e-commerce online. But there were no guarantees that that was a good category. At the time we launched this business, it wasn't even crystal clear that the technology would improve fast enough that ordinary people, non-computer people, would even want to bother with this technology. So that was good luck. So there are a whole bunch of things that have to sort of align to make it work.
I think I'd always wanted to do it, even since I was a kid. Had the idea, one of the people who every time I look at something, it looks like it could be improved. There's something wrong with it. So I go through like, wow, how could this restaurant be better? And so I've always had that kind of idea. The great thing about humans in general is we're always improving things. And so entrepreneurs and inventors, if they follow their curiosity and they follow their passions and they figure something out and then they figure out how to make it better and they're never satisfied. And you need to harness that. In my view, you need to harness that energy primarily on your customers instead of on your competitors. And so I sometimes see companies and even young, small startup companies, entrepreneurs go awry is they start to pay more attention to their competition than they do to their customers. I think that in big, mature industries, that might be a winning approach in some cases, kind of close following. Let other people be the pioneers and go down the blind alleys. There's many things that a new inventive company tries won't work. And so those mistakes and errors and failures do cost real money. And so maybe in a mature industry where growth rates are slow and change is very slow. But as you see in the world more and more, there aren't very many mature industries. Change is happening everywhere.
At a world-class level are very, very hard. It's very complex to build infrastructure, build scalable infrastructure, build sensible infrastructure. It's always changing. Operating system versions always have to be upgraded. You end up with heterogeneous environments inside your data centers, which further complicates. As you get any scale at all, you just have to start doing some forecasting for capacity planning. How many new servers am I going to need 3 months from now? How many new servers am I going to need 6 months from now? As soon as you're in that world, things get very complex indeed. And of course, you don't get to go through this undifferentiated heavy lifting just once. The successful companies are the ones who iterate as quickly as possible. They deploy their vision in the form of a product, and then they have to change it, iterate, and through each one of those iterations, there often are infrastructural pieces that have to be upgraded or changed or scaled, and this can really slow down the pace of invention and innovation. I'll give you a few examples of companies that are using these services today, they're basically driving this innovation loop, the success loop, faster because of these services.
But no, Medina is a great little, it's a suburb of Seattle, and I don't think there's anything special in the water there. And I did locate Amazon in Seattle because of Microsoft. I thought that big pool of technical talent would provide a good place to recruit talented people from, and that did turn out to be true. So it's not a complete coincidence. There's some correlation there. I solicited ideas, kind of crowdsourced, and I got literally, as you said, something like 47,000, maybe even a little more. Some of them came to my inbox, most of them came on social media, and I read through thousands and thousands of them. My office kind of correlated them all and put them into buckets, and there were some themes that emerged, but the other thing that's fascinating about the kind of exercise is you see just how long-tailed it is. People are interested in trying to help the world in so many different ways. A lot of people are very interested in homelessness, including me. A lot of people are very interested in education of all kinds. I'm very interested in early education, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My mother has become, in running the Bezos Family Foundation, she has become an expert in early education. When you attract people who have the DNA of pioneers and the DNA of explorers, you build a company of like-minded people who want to invent. And that's what they think about when they get up in the morning. How are we going to work backwards from customers and build a great service or a great product? That's a key element to invention. So if you're the right kind of person and you like to invent, you like change, everything you see as you move about the world, you think how it could be improved, that's just fun. And we at Amazon, we've over the last 18 plus years attracted a bunch of people like that, and we have a ton of fun doing it. Yeah. Now there are a couple of other things that are essential for innovation and invention that are not as fun. One of them is you have to have a willingness to fail. You have to have a willingness to be misunderstood for long periods of time. If you do something in a new way, and I don't care what it is, people are initially going to misunderstand it relative to the traditional way. And they'll be well-meaning critics, genuinely want the best outcome, but they're worried about this new way.
So one of the great things that you learn, and first of all, we had a very fortunate, lucky childhood. We got to spend a lot of time with Pop and our grandparents, and you learn different things from grandparents than you learn from parents. It's just a very different relationship. I spent all my summers on his ranch from age 4 to 16, and he was incredibly self-reliant. If you're in the middle of nowhere in a rural area, you don't pick up the phone and call somebody when something breaks. You figure out how to fix it yourself. And so as a kid, I got to see him solve all these problems and be a real problem solver. He even did his own veterinary work. He would make his own needles to suture up the cattle with. He would take a piece of wire, use a blowtorch to heat it up, pound it flat, sharpen it, drill a hole through it, make a needle. And some of the cattle even survived. So, we learned a lot of things from watching him because he would take on major projects that he didn't really know how to do and then figure out how to do them. So, but in space, we have, for all practical purposes, unlimited resources. We could have 1 trillion humans in the solar system and still wouldn't be crowded. And so then if you had 1 trillion humans, you'd have 1,000 Einsteins and 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Da Vincis. And how cool would that be? But we have to go to space, and we have to go to space to save Earth. That's why this work is so important, and we don't have forever to do it. We've now gotten so big as a civilization on Earth that we kind of have to hurry. And so I believe that really in a kind of a long time frame, the most important work I'm doing is Blue Origin and pushing forward to get humanity established in the solar system.
I think part of, a lot of people in this room are entrepreneurs, started their own businesses, done various things, taken risks of various kinds. And I think one of the precursors, one of the foundational things to being able to take risk is to have had some kind of support from somebody. You have to have some mentors, you have to have somebody who loves you. These are the kind of things that build up and allow you to kind of, jump off into uncharted terrain and do something new because you know you have a support system of one kind or another.